All right. Welcome back to the Beyond the Bones podcast. I'm Dr. Peter DeNoble. I am honored today to be with guest Justin Wimberly, known for his great work with Zone6ix sports. And we've had the pleasure of working together over the last year or so. And I've been trying to get you on this podcast for a while now. So this is a long time coming. We wanted to do it back, I think, in the summer, but here we are. So welcome.
Thank you for having me, Doc.
Yeah.
It was long overdue, but I'm glad to be here.
Long overdue. So I will tell you, I first want to just say, congratulations. This is a great, Zone6ix is a great thing. And I don't even know how to describe it because it's sort of like it's like this vehicle that like enhances the experience of these high school players. And I can see, just with what was going on this year, even with Hinchcliffe, really the energy that it brings to kids who, for all intents and purposes, the majority of high school students, this is it. This is going to be what they are left with in memories for their lives and what's going to sort of give them confidence and propel them forward to achieve great things in life in other ways. So it's not for the kid who's going to be, top of the heap at the NFL level. So why don't you just tell me more about like what your vision has been when you've been, developing this and really kind of like your perspective on it, because I'm just telling you mine.
So when we first started Zone6ix, we just wanted to create a platform where all the athletes were able to come together and share a great social media experience. Of course, we started off like on the Instagram platform where all the high school kids were on there. A lot of high school kids weren't too much into Twitter at the time. When we were looking back at 2019, we were like, okay, Instagram is the way to go. And this is like before TikTok is popular and everything. So we were saying the kids that are being heavily recruited, this is a platform where we can help them grow their brand and raise their followers by highlighting them, giving them cool highlights, doing different photo shoots. And then the kids who are underrated, or the ones that I like to call the diamonds in the rough, they can share that same platform and be highlighted on the same platform and get some opportunities and some looks from some college coaches from the Division I, Division II levels.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, one of the things that's really impressive, you've got a team of, I don't know if it's freelancers or relationships you have with young. It's actually also a great venue for, or a platform, really, an opportunity for a lot of these young kids who are up and coming photographers and videographers.
No, absolutely. So currently we are the lead team for videographers and photographers for the Legacy Classic, which is ran by Michael B. Jordan and his team. So we actually have the pleasure of working with a lot of freelancers to come together. That's like the one event we did it last year. We're back at it this year as well, but it's like the one event that we get to get some of our favorite videographers, photographers from the New Jersey, New York metropolitan area together and come together. So it's pretty cool. I
mean, some of these photos, these like action shots, even at night, even where there's a lot less light, the shutters, there's a lot of nuance to photography, but there was some crazy shots, some crazy video that I saw from some of the games over the fall. So I was really impressed with a lot of the shout out to all those, young but really professional videographers and photographers that work with.
Yes, definitely. And you'll be surprised. A lot of them are in high school as well. So
yeah. Oh, wow. That's great. I mean, listen, look, I have like a side hobby of photography that I never quite get to really work on, but when I do, it's just really it's really cool when you get that shot, when you get that series, even like you get those 5 or 10 shots that are just amazing. So and actually when we were at the basketball game, was it January 1st, New Year's Day, we appreciate you putting us down on the baseline with the photog. So I got to see a little bit about where the action was. So that was cool, and kind of see them do their work. So that was really great. And you talked a little bit about it, but the athletes, you could see they really appreciate the platform you give them.
No, definitely. I mean, at the end of the day, the thing that makes us different for this demographic of high school kids or even middle school athletes, we're creating and providing an opportunity that you usually only see at the collegiate or professional level. So some things we do, and when we run events as Zone6ix, and we acquire certain games where they become a classic or a showcase, we are able to have more flexibility compared to some of the rules that they have to follow when they are in regular league play. So, example, this year, fireworks are like our new thing.
Yeah.
So, when you do a regular game in season, smoke and pyrotechnics are not permitted when they play each other. But if you come,
is that a venue issue, or is that because is that some type of like?
It's just a league conference rule when it's a traditional league game.
But once they're outside of the traditional game structure and rules, you have more leeway to sort of enhance it with things like that?
Yes. So from the football or basketball game, we're able to, give them that experience almost as if they're playing in a college bowl game or any classic or showcase. So it's pretty cool to do so. The kids loved it.
Yeah.
They're looking forward to it this year. Schedules just came out. So we're trying to work on something special for this upcoming season. So we'll look for something else besides fireworks to be added into our game day experience.
Well, fireworks was one thing, but you had a halftime concert. You had a
oh man, that was new. That was new as well. So the halftime concert brought a lot of high school kids out in the community. So it was a TikTok artist. So we just try to stay connected. At the end of the day, our platform is to give the kids everything that we know that they want or what's going to make them come out to the events and have a great time and giving them a memorable experience. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. They, what I really thought that Hinchcliffe is a really nice venue. I mean, why don't you talk a little bit about that? Because I didn't even know. I kind of generally knew about it, and I'd heard that it was getting, renovated and stuff, but the history behind it and really kind of like what's gone into it. It's really a beautiful venue with a beautiful vista over New York.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
Absolutely. So Hinchcliffe Stadium, it's actually been closed until the season when it's the new inaugural season of the newly renovated Hinchcliffe Stadium, but it was closed for 27 years. So I was very young when it closed down, but it's a historical stadium where it's one of two Negro League stadiums that are still up and running in America. It's also a stadium that not just the teams in Patterson share. There were multiple games like Bergen Catholic, Don Bosco. Like this was like the stadium to be at. They had concerts, all types of sporting and entertainment there, like drag car racing, as far as like with the miniature go-karts or go-kart racing, should I say.
Yeah.
So this was not like before, these big, nice new stadiums of like MetLife Stadium. This was a stadium for really like North Jersey that everyone used to use, and it used to be packed with tens of thousands of people.
I mean, what did you say? It was like the second biggest stadium in Jersey, or besides MetLife, it's the second.
So besides MetLife and Rutgers, it's the third biggest football stadium.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, Jersey's, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of big.
Yeah, because we have Division, 2 schools such as, Montclair State or Keene, or I believe Division 3, Keene University, Rowan, here in the state of New Jersey. So for that stadium to have, an attendance, that could seat more than those venues, pretty impressive for sure.
Yeah. I mean, just being there, I felt like all the sight lines looked great, and like you said, the kids look like they were having a great time. And I will say, I'll give you a ton of credit. Your staff, they were on top of it. They were at every exit. Security was tight. Everyone was, everyone felt safe. Everything seemed to go off without a hitch. So we're very proud to be one of your sponsors this year, and work with you guys on that. So
definitely, I appreciate it for sure. And then, yeah, it's a very unique stadium. It's like a horseshoe as well. So compared to most of the other high school fields, either they have different side seatings, one side seating, but this is like the only high school field in New Jersey that comes together from both sides that can actually connect. Just like, it's exactly a horseshoe with the whole city of Patterson, and then beyond that, the New York City vista is pretty amazing.
It's cool. I mean, I got in there and I'm like, wow, this is like cool. You got the scoreboard and the big jumbotron in the end zone, but then right beyond that, you can basically see the sunset over New York. It's pretty impressive. It's also pretty impressive to watch a thunderstorm. That was crazy.
Lord. That we've experienced nothing like that.
That was wild.
A banner went outside the stadium. We retrieved the banner thing.
Yeah, that was wild. I was actually parked underneath the line.
You sent me the video.
Yeah, while it was flying over. I'm like, I better get out of here before this wire snaps and I get electrocuted. But
thank you, McDonald's, by the way.
Yeah, McDonald's. One of the things that I'm interested about, because you this is obviously a unique. Zone6ix specifically is a unique organization, meaning, you're not just copying someone else who's been doing it for a while and you're going to do a little bit differently or the same thing. Like you're creating something that kind of just didn't exist.
Exactly.
Tell me about that, like how it started and like what your vision was and continues to be.
I was in grad school at the time, actually. I was in my last semester of grad school at University of Arkansas. I was just, looking back and going down memory lane of high school football, and I'm looking like, okay, what's going on? Who's the best players? Who are the best teams now? See if times have changed. And I was just, talking to my co-founder, Jordan Coleman. I'm like, hey, there might be an opportunity for us to bridge the gap and give the kids an opportunity and experience like no other, because I'm working with the football team at the time, and we're receiving Nike gear. We're gonna play at Jerry's World. Different. I'm going to see. We're playing at Alabama, LSU, some of the best stadiums, and the experience for the kids, for the players at the time. I'm like, how can I implement some of the things that they're doing or receiving at the high school level, and how can I, take high school athletics to the next level back where I'm at? Because in the South, things are, sports are huge in the South. I mean, compared to the North, we were really good at sports up here, but they're just super, super invested into athletics at the end of the day, and population is pretty big as well at some of those high schools. So we say, okay, we knew we had an opportunity to come back and provide an opportunity for the athletes that they weren't receiving. So now we changed the image of how a traditional photo shoot looked when I was in high school. It's all right, the photographer is going to come for the day. You're going to get down on one knee, stand next to your helmet,
right.
Look up, chest out.
We all see those photos from
you put and then end up in the refrigerator and go from there. So it was like, okay, this is not how it's done at the professional college level anymore.
Right.
And I'm glad we've had the opportunity to open everyone's eyes around here, where now when you see photo shoots, whether we're doing it or other people doing it, they're being more creative with it. They're doing backdrops, right? You're not going to see one kid on a knee for any photos anymore, high school, for any sports, really, right. for the most part. So, like, when we came back, like, we had some, like, top players, some underdog players. We had, like, 2 kids that were All-Americans that were a part of, like, we called it, like, our first Zone6 class of kids. And we had, I think, in 72 hours, about 2,000 followers on Instagram, because we went live, did like a sneak peek, and everyone wanted to know what exactly is going on. What's this going on? Like, hey, how is he here? But he's here, so like I should be there if he's here, because they see some of the underrated kids there. So it's like, okay, it's not just about the 4 and the 5 stars. So we the stove was hot. 2,000 followers, 72 hours. I decided not to go on spring break for my last year of college. And I came back home, and we did an invitational only camp. And we had the pleasure of having the legendary and one of my former high school coaches, Greg Toll, who has crazy amount of championships in the state of New Jersey. I won a national championship under him at Don Bosco Prep. I think he has 3 himself as a coach total. And then we had at the time New York Giants cornerback coach Henry Baker, who was at the University of Maryland as a defensive back coach. Now, as our keynote speakers, kids receive gear. That's one thing that kids love about our camps as well. We give some great, amazing, cool gear. We come up with some very unique designs, and guys, our Winter Showcase designs are coming out soon, and
Nice.
they love it. They love it. They get to walk away. Like I said, it's all about the experience. So going to most camps when I was growing up, you get a T-shirt and you fellowship with the coaches, and you learn from them. But we give them the great gear, the great photos, the great recap videos that you mentioned of some of the videographers that are at some of our events. So like times are changing, but at the end of the day, it's changing in a great way where it's able to, capture them, to highlight them, to give them opportunities to be recruited. So, but once we got back, we did an invitational only camp, and probably about 500-600 kids from the metropolitan area sent us there at the huddle tapes at the time to evaluate them to see if they could receive an invite. We did about 75 kids to come to the camp, and the following year, then we were able to do a open camp where which is our winter showcase. But then we always still do the elite camp, which was our first camp ever. So you have to come to the winter showcase to get an invitation to the invitational camp that we do. So this year will be our 6th annual invitational camp for the brand.
That's really great. You said something that was different. And when I say that, I mean, when you're a senior, and you said it was a senior in college, right? Where you said
I was actually in my second year of grad school.
Grad school, but you still it's a lot of work to be in grad school and kind of be working towards something. And you get a break, you get a week off. Usually, you're thinking, get somewhere warm, get some warmer, and get near a beach. You had something else on your mind. That's a pretty big sacrifice, for a kid that age, to say, you know what, I gotta, get some work done.
No, definitely, for sure. And when we was creating at the time, I was saving up my stipends from grad school. I invested about $1,500 into the kids, the first 9 kids that we pitched to, as far as, hey, would you like to be a part of this? So when they came to the shoot that day when we were live and going behind the scenes, we were able to give them a bunch of gear, backpacks. We even put like their favorite football movie DVD in there at the time for a keepsake item.
So let me get this straight. So you had $1,500 that you had gotten some stipends and stuff like that just for living and whatever, and you, instead of taking it and buying an all-inclusive week at the Cancun Vista, you took it and you put it back. You invested it into these kids.
No, definitely, for sure. Definitely. So I invested it into them, and then our photographer Felix Gill, who's still with us, who did our first shoot ever, and he shoots a lot of our events. He invested about $500 into it to make sure that we had the right equipment for the shoot, because we were like, hey, we need to do something different, which was what was being done at the college and professional level. So he was invested in it, and he believed in the vision. So it was pretty cool to make everything happen.
That's impressive, man. I mean, I think these days it's I don't know. I don't like painting with broad strokes, but I do. When I see people, especially younger than me, at this point, I'm getting older, so everyone's younger, starting to look younger than me. But when I see kids that are of younger generations, I say kids in an endearing way, but again, I'm just aging myself. But really betting on themselves and taking a vision and running with it. Hats off, because the opportunities are out there. There's a lot of distractions these days, as just scrolling through social media. You can just go and sink your time into all sorts of wasteful things, and to bear down and really kind of crank out, a business, be at risk financially. I mean, I don't know how much, you feel that, here or there, but I mean, as someone who's, run a business for the last,
It was tough. I mean, as far as you start the business in 2019, and like I said, stove was hot, but then at one point, right, like when we got running, the brand is cooking. By the time so we launched in April. By the time we got to winter, out of nowhere, we had a basketball platform that we didn't even prepare for. Technically, everyone was just like, we want the same opportunities, that the football players were receiving. So we launched it for girls and boys basketball.
And COVID, right?
Came around.
So you just
come around right after the first winter showcase. We did a winter showcase in February of 2020, and 3 weeks later, COVID, and we were like, okay.
Yeah, well, same with us. We started Modern Orthopedics 2020 January 1st, so we were 3 months, not even. We were 2.5 months in, so kind of the same time frame. And you're like, all right, things are looking up. We're like, yeah, like let's go, And
that was, tough times for everyone here in this world. But, for a business of our sort, we had to stay creative on social media, stay engaged with the kids and everything, highlighting them, for they could stay in tune, because they could have easily walked away and forgotten about the brand or unfollowed the brand and the movement. But, that 5 months, during that period, we really, really took advantage of the opportunity to brainstorm what direction outside of, because we weren't planning on doing classics weren't a plan at all when we first started. We were like, hey, we want to just do some showcases as far as camps and give, help kids with exposure. So funny story that most people don't know, since we're going into the 4th year of the high school football classic this upcoming season, our first classic of any sort, we did with middle schoolers. This was in 2020. COVID, the season is, it's only a limited amount of games. I think high school games were like 6 or 7 games during the season total. And then the younger kids probably play 6 games as well, compared to playing, 10 to 12 games in a season. So we pitched it to a few programs, and we brought them together to one venue, and we did a Halloween Fest classic. We used that model and basically took it and said, hey, we're going to now implement it on a high school level and put together some games and everything, because it went really, really well with the middle schoolers. But we knew we weren't going to be able to do it again, because once it got back to 2021, their condensed schedule was going to go into playoffs and everything now. So we weren't going to have this opportunity to host it the way we did in 2020. So that was a great experience of learning from that, to go from local high school field of hosting Little League games to the next year we were hosting at Montclair State and William Patterson University. So we were like, okay, we did year 1. Shout out to St. Peter's Prep for really giving us the opportunity to do so. And I feel like I'm forever in debt of St. Peter's. And everyone always wants to know, like, why St. Peter's is always a part of the classic. They give us the first opportunity to host a big game that was going to have a good turnout. It was St. Peter's. Day ones. St. Peter's versus West Orange. Probably had about 3,000 people at Montclair State University. So we go from, Division III venues. Then the second year of the classic, a huge jump. We go from there. We still hosted some games at Montclair State University. We hosted at Keene as well the following year in year 2. And then we got the opportunity to host at MetLife Stadium. We had number 1 at the time, Don Bosco, versus number 2, St. Peter's. So once we did that game, it really took the brand to a whole nother level, because you're not going to see any other platforms or companies hosting any games at MetLife Stadium.
There's something about, brand inertia or brand awareness, obviously, is like more the term. But brand awareness, like once people are aware of it, even though it doesn't necessarily manifest, in any other way other than doors just open easier, or they're already open when you get to a certain stage, So you may have you may see that now, you know, as you start to develop things, you know, people are picking up your calls easier. You know, more people are getting back to you, you know,
Definitely.
when they see, you know, they hear it from their coaches, their kids, it's percolating up. And let's be honest, the coaches are on these platforms too. They're watching. They want to, you know, listen, your job is to bring success to the school. So, you know, of course you want to be part of premier platforms that are going to be showcased under the lights with amazing video and photography that's going to end up showcasing their kids. It's going to make their program look good, their kids look good. Thereby, it's going to help them. And frankly, they're probably their job security, frankly. So,
absolutely.
You know, it just really, it makes a lot of sense as to, you know, but getting back to my point, which is like, it's interesting how it takes time. It just takes constant work to just pound the pavement and just not give up. Like, have you ever felt like, you know what, like, it's just, this is just like a lot of work, I don't see it, you know? Or are you just every day just pounding head down? And like, where do you find that balance? And like, how do you keep your motivation going?
I mean, everyone has their days. That's just as being a human being where you feel like it's a lot on your plate or a lot coming at once, especially when you're trying to do something great or something that, you know, it might not be a situation might not be in your control, and you have to, you know, be patient. And sometimes, you know, being patient could, you know, get annoying at times. But I just try to take it one day at a time. I'm old school in the sense of I have a yellow pad each day. I write out everything that I need to complete. Even once I walk away from it, I take a picture of it. If I'm on the move, to make sure that I complete my day. On top of my pad, it always says when. I always write out on the top part, win the day. So I just try to take things one day at a time. So, you know.
So you have a process. You have a very specific process that you use to approach every day. And that actually makes a lot of sense, right?
Just got to scratch the list off.
When you
one thing at a time.
When you look up and you see you're at the base camp and you look at the top of the mountain, you can't just sit there being like, "Oh my God, I gotta get there." Like, you just got to look down and look at this step and these 3 next steps, and I think you just said it perfectly. Like, you just break it down day by day and just make it real easy to achieve, or, you know, attempt to achieve, and hopefully you achieve a certain high percentage of those objectives of the day. That's a great way to approach it.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And like I said, we're working on classic season, and I had a surreal moment today where I was just mentioning to you the Halloween Classic. The kids that we actually did the Halloween Classic, they're actually going to be seniors. A part
of the middle school kids.
The middle school, they were, as far as the 8th grade class that year, because we have 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade that year, that 8th grade class is going to be seniors, and we're actually going to have them showcased. They played in our Classic last year. They're actually going to be one of the marquee games of the Classic again this year.
That's
their
cool.
Senior year. So when like wherever, you know, doing flyers or promo or anything, and I have to go back in our, like, my camera roll or my folders, going back through memory lane, it always gets me cranked up. Like, okay,
yeah,
keep it going.
How long?
Like,
how far you've come, right?
Like, definitely, for sure. So,
where is Zone6ix in 5 years? Where do you
5
see?
years.
What's your vision?
Vision for 5 years will actually, you know, be on a national level. I mean, last year we had the opportunity to, once again, St. Peter's Prep. We were able to have them come with us to Atlanta, Georgia, to open their season against Creekside High School, who's a top 100 team in the country. And then we also hosted a local game there that had a great turnout between 2 schools from the Atlanta area. So I think in 5 years we continue to, you know, branch as far as to do what we're doing here, but to set it up in other bigger markets around the country. So it comes together, whether it's back to one app. I almost look at it like the Sports Center concept or ESPN concept. ESPN might host 6 different games in one day or 7 games in 6 different locations, but then it all comes back to one platform. So that's where I see things for us in the future.
So that's interesting, because when we started Modern Orthopedics, like, you know, first of all, by the way, I was never on social media prior to having my own company. I was on it. I think I got onto Facebook for for the other organization that I started. And so it was always for a purpose, not you know, honestly, I wasn't for like sharing pictures. But of course, once you're on it, you start to do what everyone does. You have your personal account. So I set it up so that it was like, we had a Modern Orthopedic, Modern Ortho, Instagram and Facebook. And then we have in the operating room, like not everyone wants to see us, what we do in the operating room, but some people do. So we set that up as a separate channel, which made sense. But like, how do you think about bifurcating your content? Because, you know, it's hard to get consistently gain followers, right? So I noticed that you have your football account, you've got your basketball account. So you're saying your vision is maybe bringing it to one unified platform, or is it sort of, do you like it better when you have, you know, the content more curated for this particular sport? Like, what is that kind of what you were talking about, or is something different than that?
So as far as just the opportunities, as far as the showcases, the games, the camps, everything, whether it's 7-on-7, to actually just be, you know, in different regions of the country. But as far as once we create the content from those events, they'll come back. When I say back to one platform, more so just our brand as a whole. But
okay,
it would still be almost like the Nike concept, where Nike has a Nike page that they don't really post much on. But that's the main brand page.
Right.
But then you have Nike basketball, Nike football, or Nike soccer.
I see.
So we would continue to, you know, grow those brands, and it's very hard to, you know, grow the brand from a followers standpoint, where you have to get, you know, very creative. Football is our main outlet for our company, but we've been doing a tremendous job. Shout out to my team for this year, where we've, you know, put a lot of time and effort into growing the basketball brand, and it's been the growth has been beautiful. Like yesterday, we posted a video. We donated some sneakers, brand new. Sabrina Ionescu from the New York Liberty, her brand new Nike sneakers to Eastside Lady Eagles basketball team, and the engagement has been tremendous. But as far as, you know, from the follower standpoint, definitely have to be, you know, super creative, right? And I tell people that, hey, everyone asks, like, how do you have 30,000, like close to 30,000 followers? And of course, people follow what we do. They like what we do, stay engaged, get information. But our followers are just not from here. Our followers are from all over the country. When we talk about, you know, over 29,000 followers, and as you say, strolling and whatnot, you have to show love to get love. So I might be, you know, find a kid's page from somewhere in Michigan, and I might like 3 of his pictures, and I might comment, you know, some fire emojis or 100 emojis, like, keep up the good work, keep it going. Yeah. And they'll follow the platform. But I literally, like, and that was like, especially during, we had nothing but time as far as being inside in COVID. That's where it really started for me. And that brand of the followers was growing, because I was spending time looking at some of these talents and kids around the country and showing their platforms love as well.
That's interesting. And those seeds that you threw out there, you know, I guess sort of ultimately end up helping you to your final, you know, vision where the platform goes, right, which is a national level.
No, definitely, for sure. I mean, we want to continue to grow to, you know, be a big brand, whether we decide to do something, if it might be Zone6ix manufacturing certain items in sports, or, you know, we do have merchandise that we do at events and whatnot. But even though we get opportunity to partner with, you know, let's say if it's a Nike, Adidas, or whatever, because they know that we're into giving the kids great gear, and they know that it's a win-win for them as well, where, like, okay, hey, who's this company right here? We need to partner with them because the kids are engaged with the Zone6ix brand. and they have partnerships with other brands out there because it makes sense on the business side of things. So that would definitely, be pretty cool, whether it's from technology companies or apparel companies or equipment companies to partner with us as well, because they know that it's a win for them as well working with us.
So there's a lot of interplay between sponsors and the teams and the venues and all the different things you got to put together. It's a lot. Definitely. Yeah, it seems you show up to the game, this is nice, but you don't know what goes on behind the scenes.
The real work is right now. So, I know football season for us don't kick off until end of August / beginning of September, but
takes that long.
All the real work.
Coordinate.
Yeah.
Especially a big event. You're not just opening the doors and having people sit down and there's an announcer. You're doing souped up stuff.
No, definitely.
So it's
definitely. So we have to work with the programs and schools as well. So we have to make sure that we're all on one accord as working when we acquire some of these games to, make sure that we're giving them experience that they're looking for. We always try to open up whatever game day traditions that they have and try to, communicate with them to make their fan base as comfortable as possible, or things that they usually do, whether it could be, hey, we usually run out, or if I'm dealing with a Catholic school, hey, we pray before games. Those are things that we have to coordinate on a script, because we have a game day script that we have to, follow, but it all comes together, but it's a process, and we have to make sure that we hit our deliverables. So even if we're working with Mother Orthopedics, we have to make sure that our ads are running. We have to make sure whether it's a still ad, or even if it's a video, or even if it's an in-game activation that we're deciding to do. And I think we had a great time with the 3-point contest.
That was good.
Your son competed.
He hit a few.
And hit a few. Definitely hit a few threes, because I think the round before that we had, I don't think anyone hit anything. But we, it's definitely a process of, dealing with the venues as well, because we don't have our own venue that we own. So we have to make sure that we coordinate with their schedule as well, and that the dates that, align with the teams that we're trying to bring in. So it's really, a long process leading up to first week or even during the season.
Yeah. It's your MC sounds.
It's probably stuck in everyone's head in North Jersey if you've ever been to our event. I get mixed reviews about it in a good sense, but they won't forget the brand.
I tell you what, he's a really great MC, and that's what I was saying. I was like, for me, I like it. Most events, sport events, you're not going to have play-by-play over the PA system.
He's tremendous. He's visible with the crowd. I'm behind the scenes on game days for the most part, and if kids if they see him, they're like Zone6ix, 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 or people jokingly say Zone6 Classic.
Zone6ix Classic. He keeps saying that at the Hinge Club.
I want to actually calculate it one day, maybe, and this is like a video, stirring things like this will actually do well on social media, and have a count where if I could get one videographer to follow him for the day, and we just do a count, every time he says it, and just do a count meter 1, 2, and put bottom right corner and put a count. Probably finish it with 80 something times in one day. Seriously,
I don't know why. I just love when he says Zone6ix Classic. It just is soothes. It's it's the Zone6ix Classic. It's just it's just great.
We were high school teammates, actually.
Oh, really?
So before Patterson Catholic closed down, he was a senior in high school, and I was a freshman.
You play football?
So we actually played for my dad at Patterson Catholic before Patterson Catholic closed down. So he was actually our MC, he was actually really good. He was our star receiver.
Oh, really?
He was our star wide receiver. He was really good, and I think
he could have been in a Zone6ix Classic. Yeah, except for the timing.
Yeah, he had a good amount of touchdowns, and he had I think 8 interceptions. I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was right. So he knows from the basketball football. He comes from a family background of sports and cool. In the community. So,
nice guy, really nice guy. That's cool. Nice guy. 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 Really nice Yeah, man. I just I really appreciate the work you put into a very unique brand, and yeah, it's just I encourage you to. I mean, you don't need my encouragement, but it's really nice to see, all the work you've been putting in, and it's paying off. So yeah, that's why we love being a part of it.
And definitely, we appreciate you guys being a part of it. We know how much it means for you guys to be there and to connect with the athletes, the coaches, the programs, and also the community. Because the community, they love having you guys at the game. You guys have some tremendous giveaways for sure, and those are still things that are generally not done, at a traditional high school sporting event. So to have you guys on board, I know we'll continue to work together and provide some cool experiences for high school athletics at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely. We're happy to continue to grow with you guys. Listen, man, thanks for coming on the pod. And got any more? You want to give us a? What the heck?
So that's his thing. So you can follow him at that's official SLV Sounds. You can follow him. He has over 1 million TikTok followers. He has over hundreds of thousands of Instagram followers as well. But we love him on our team.
You're not gonna give it to me though.
Oh, my best impersonation?
Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna make jokes of me, but I'm gonna give it to the people. What the hell? So, but he's the best with that one. So,
he's good. He's good. I like the videos that he shares of like the kids in like India and the kids in the world. Yeah, just trying it out.
Report, Overtime, all the big platforms. They're always using his voiceovers and everything. We're actually working together this Saturday. Have like 7 high school basketball games that we're one of the sponsors of, and I think it's 5 teams in the top 20 of the state competing in the Jerome Smart Classic. So it should be pretty fun. Our last basketball showcase of the year this Saturday at the Old Patterson Catholic. And then once we finish with that, because they're going to go into counties, playoffs, and everything, which basically now everything belongs to the state, we'll be diving into football with our winter showcase on February 25th. And we'll be, transitioning into the football off-season events, and looking forward to it. We actually going to probably post it next week, but we have like a 7-on-7 that we're going to be doing this year. We're going to do the regular one that we did last year, which was tremendous, 30 schools. We'll probably have 32 to 48 schools this year. And then we're going to actually do something called Battle of the Catholics and get like 8 Catholic schools to compete in a showcase 7-on-7 during the month of June. That's going to be a great turnout, a lot of talent on hand. And right now we're just going to continue working on the high school football schedule for the Classic season.
You got work cut out for you, man. And doing football in February, that's like it's year round. So
but actually,
check that out, everyone.
Yeah, it's actually pretty. It's actually people are like, hey, it's so far out. Do you feel like so disconnected from the season? I'm like, no, because the NFL is actually on TV right now.
That's true.
So seeing their games and stuff, seeing some of the things that they're doing, it actually keeps me, connected, where I'm like so glad that there's football in January, February, while I'm working on football for August, September, October.
Yeah.
So
we're pretty much almost to the point of like football year round now at this point. But no, that's great. And there's a lot of great things to look forward to. So we'll be there with you, man.
Thank you so much, Doc.
Thanks again, man.
All right.